Now let's look at the option styles. Option styles. Option styles. Now for the option style, we have three types of option style. Number one, we have what we call the American style. Now American style, in this case, you can be able to exercise either to buy or the sell. To buy or the sell. Eh? I'm sure some of you, I can see they are saying they don't have the handle. It's okay. I just display it here. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. So we are saying that we are looking at option style. We have three classes of option style. Number one, we have American style. Now, an American style is an option where you can exercise. Exercising, that means you can either buy or sell this option at maturity date only. I repeat again. We have three types of options. Number one, we have European option. We have American option, and we have Bermudian option. Those are the option style we have. Number one, we start with the European. Now, European option, in this case, is an option where you can buy or sell only at maturity date only. That's when you can exercise the right only at maturity date. Then we have an American option. An American option style. This means you can exercise on or before maturity. Then you also have Bermudian. Bermudian is more like American. Eh? So that means you can exercise on or before, but you have to specify the date. I repeat again. We have three option style. Number one, we have the European option. European option style, you can only exercise. That means you can either buy or sell. The buyer can buy or sell at maturity date only. That's the European. Then we have American. American, you can exercise. That means you can buy or sell on or before maturity date. Then also you have the Bermudian. Bermudian is the same as an American, where you can buy or sell on or before, but in this case, you have to specify the date. So those are the options we have. Those are the three. European option, American, and Bermudian. So those are the classification of the option style based on the settlement date. Then we have other classification of options that based on the payoff. Classification of options based on the payoff. Now, based on the payoff in another word just means the profit. Also, in this case, based on the payoff, they are classified into three. Number one, we have what we call in the money, we have at the money, and we have out of the money. I repeat again, classification of option based on the payoff. I've said that the payoff, they are profit. So number one, we have the in the money option. Now, in the money option, in the money just means ndani ya pesa, eh? In the money. So that means an option in that if you exercise now, you'll get a profit. That's what we call in the money. Then number two, we have out of the money. Here ni nje ya pesa. Out of the money, that means that if you exercise this security now, definitely you get a loss. That's what we call out of the money option. And then number three, we have what we call at the money. At the money, that means when you exercise now, you'll not gain, you'll not lose. That means you just break even. So in the money, if you exercise now, you get the profit. Out of the money, nje ya pesa, if you exercise now, you get a loss. And number three, we have at the money. At the money, you'll not gain, you'll not lose. That means you'll get a payoff of 0. So that is it. So now let's do an illustration. Let's do an illustration. So in this case, I want us to do an illustration. I want to display this illustration here. Let's do this illustration. So suppose a security has an exercise or strike price of 30 with a gain, with a premium of 5. Remember, I have said that a premium, that means an unrefundable fee. That means it's an expense. Eh? I repeat again. Suppose a security has an exercise or strike price of 30 and a premium of 5. Determine the value of the both core option and put option, as well as the profit or loss, assuming the following prevailing market prices. You're given the market price of 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and 45. So in this case, you are given the exercise price. That means when you buy or you sell it at 30. But the market price can either be 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, or 45. So in this case, you need to determine the value for the both call option and the put option. Also, you need to get the profit or loss. So how do we determine that? How do we determine that? Now, this is how we determine. This is how we determine now. First of all, you need to get the value of the call. We start with the value of the call. You have said that the value of the call option, the value of the call option, you take maximum, then you take the market price per share, then you deduct the exercise price, 0. Now that's how you get the value of the call. Then how do we get the profit or loss? The profit or loss, we have said that in this case, you just take the value of the call, you deduct the premium. So we need to differentiate the two. Now let's get the value of the call. So you take the maximum, then you take the market price. The market price, we are told that it can either be 20, it can also be 25, it can be 30, it can be 35, it can be 40, it can be 45. Then you deduct the exercise price. Remember, we are told that the exercise price will be 30. So that means you deduct 30. Now let's get that. 45 minus 30, that means you get 15. 40 minus 30, you get 10. 35 minus that, you get 5. 30 minus that, you get 0. Now, 25 minus that, you get negative 5. You cannot write negative. That's why we are writing this 0. So that means it's 0. You cannot exercise. Also, 20 minus that, you get a negative. So in this case, you write 0. So now, let's get the value of the call. Get the value of the call. Get the value of the call. Now, when you're getting the profit or loss, we say that you take the value of the call, you deduct the premium. We have said that the premium is just the transaction cost. So in this case, the value of the call, in this case, it was 0. Here we have gotten 0, 0. Here we have 5. We have 10. We have 15. Then we deduct the premium. Remember, we are told that. And put with a premium of 5. So that means we had a premium of 5. Zero minus 5, you get negative 5. In this case, you can write 0. 0 minus 5 also, it's negative 5. Negative 5, 0, 5, and 10. Now, those are the profit. Now, how can we interpret this? Now, for the 3, we are getting a negative. If you get a negative, that's what we call, if you exercise now, that's what we call out of the money. If you get a negative, that means if you exercise now, you'll get a loss. Then we have this 0. 0 means at the money. That's the at the money option. At the money. And then we have 2 positive. We have profit of 5, profit of 10. Now that's what we call in the money. Now that's how we get the value of the call and the profit. You take the market price, the prevailing market prices, you deduct the exercise price, then you get. If you get 20 minus that is negative, in this case we have this 0. This 0 means the maximum it can go, it's 0. That means you cannot exercise. And then when you're getting the profit, you just take the value of the call, what you have gotten here, then you deduct the premium. And then that's the normal interpretation. Now, let's look at, assuming it was a put option. So, someone is asking the maximum. Now, the maximum, it can either be the maximum market price or the maximum exercise price. So that means, like in this case, this is the maximum. This is the maximum, this is the maximum, this is the maximum. At each option, when you're exercising, the maximum, it can either be either the market price per share or the exercise price per share. So now let's do, assuming now we want to get the value of the put. How do we get the value of the put? How do we get the value of the put? How do we get the value of the put? We need to get the value of the put. This is how you get the value of the put. Now, the value of the put, also you take maximum. Now, in this case, you are selling. So that means you take the exercise price, you raise the market price per share. And how do we get the profit or loss? For the profit and loss, this is how you get it. You take the value of the put, you deduct the premium. So now let's get that. So the exercise price was 30. So you just take 30 and then you deduct the market price per share. We're told that the market price per share, it can either be 20 up to 45. It's between 20 to 45. So that means you raise 20, can be 25, it can be 30, it can be 35, 40, or 45. So that one you get 10, you get 5, 0. 30 minus 35, you get what? Sharon. Okay, so that minus that 5, we say that if you get a negative, you just write 0. Also, that one will be 0. That minus 48 is a negative, you still get 0. Now, let's get the profit. So, in this case, you take the value of the put. In this case, we have 10, 5, 0, 0, 0, 0. Then you deduct the premium. Remember, the premium is the transaction cost. The transaction cost was 5. So that one you get 5, 0, negative 5, negative 5, negative 5, negative 5. So all those negative, those means are out, the option is out of the money. What does that mean? That means you as the seller, you should not exercise. When the price is, when the market price is 30, that 5, 40, or 40, you should not exercise. Also for this one, you're getting 0. Now that's what we call at the money. You're not gaining, you're not losing. And also we have 5. That one is positive. That's what we call in the money. In the money. So that means if the exercise price does not change, it remains to be 30, and the market price is 20. So that's when the buyer, you should exercise. That's when you should sell that security.